Hi. I wanted to explain why you hear so many different ideas whenever you look for advice on how to play in the upper register on trumpet, or even just how to play trumpet in general. I mean, you see lip buzz, don't lip buzz, mouthpiece buzz, don't mouthpiece buzz, use tongue arch, don't use tongue arch, anchor tongue tip tongue, roll the lips in, don't roll the lips in, use faster air, don't use faster air, use more air, don't use so much air, sing, whistle, do the pencil exercise. Oh, don't do the pencil exercise. Use a lip set point. Take a full, huge breath. Oh, don't breathe so deep. Take a half breath. Take a quarter breath. Pull your stomach in. Tighten your stomach. Relax your chest. Breathe from down low. You can't breathe from down low. And all different kinds of breath support. Use a flat chin. You don't have to use a flat chin. Use this embouchure. Use that embouchure. Hey, it gets confusing. Okay? And I can tell you why all those things are out there and why the person that said it was saying the right thing for them and why it's that way. Okay? Uh, First, I guess I need to explain why I'm kind of uniquely qualified to talk about this. All right. Uh, I'm Clint McLaughlin, known by Pops to many people in the trumpet community. I used to have the number one website in the world on trumpet. I've been out of touch for several years because of some health issues and 8 surgeries and stuff like that. I've been teaching for about 50 years. I've been written about in the International Trumpet Guild Journal, Wind Player Magazine, Overture, American Federation of Musicians Magazine, International Journal of Music. I've been written about in college reference books like Trumpet Greats and Trumpet Pedagogy. I've been written about in books by other trumpet teachers. I've had trumpet teachers and college professors come take lessons at my house, then go home and teach their students or even write books. I've had guys come in here and take a lesson, go home and write a book about their lesson. I've been called the leading expert in brass embouchure by several uh, prominent college professors. I've written over 25 books. That includes a 985 page extended range version based on exercises in the Arbin book, and I give that book away free on my website, uh, bflattrumpet.com. That's with two B's, bbtrumpet.com. Um, how I got here was partly by really great luck and partly by lots of work. My first teacher was an elderly gentleman named Arthur Ford. He lived 4 blocks from my house. Okay? Arthur Ford, his first trumpet teacher, well, actually his only trumpet teacher, was Herbert L. Clark. So I learned, lip buzzing, mouthpiece buzzing, anchor tonguing. One thing that I didn't learn was fear. He never said, play this low note. He never said, this is a high note. He never said, oh, this is going to be difficult because it's got so many high notes. He never said anything about a high note. He'd just go, oh, that's an F. Well, what is this note? He didn't say, well, that's a high F. He goes, that's an F. Nothing's high, nothing's low. It's just the note. And because of that, I never had any fear of any piece of music or anything. I mean, nothing. Uh, I started the trumpet in the summer between the 8th and ninth grade. In the ninth grade, after 3 months of playing trumpet, I was the soloist in the junior high band. In the 10th grade, a friend of mine in band had spent 12 weeks of his summer at New York, taking 5 lessons a week from Roy Stevens. And he had developed a lot of range in those 12 weeks. And I wanted to know what this guy did in those 12 weeks. So he showed me what he learned in his lessons, and I read the book, and I worked on the Stevens embouchure, and it didn't scare me, didn't bother me, because I knew my old embouchure was always going to be there. If I don't like this, my old embouchure's still going to be there, because I had never been taught to fear anything. I didn't have fear of any ideas, nothing. I played Stevens throughout the rest of high school and in college. Uh, the director of the jazz band in college was working on the Maggio. And I thought, hey, that's cool, something new. And so I went through and I learned to play on the Maggio. And I would sometimes do stuff in band on my old embouchure, and I'd sometimes do it on the Stevens, and I'd sometimes do it on the Maggio, and nobody ever complained about what came out of the horn. In college, I also studied with Don Jacoby, who at the time was the number one trumpet clinician in the world. In fact, I talked a couple of times with Doc about my teacher Jake, and Doc said, yeah, about then I was the number two clinician in the world. And he looked at me and said, and your teacher was number one. I go, yeah, I know. But Jake said, hey, you need to just settle on one of these embouchures, because you could be spending that practice time working on one. And so I used the embouchure that Mr. Ford taught me, which was from H.L. Clark. And I stuck with that because of the resonance that I got with it. Okay? After I got out of college, I read the TCE book and the Super Chops book. Read the Super Chops book first. A little bit of it wasn't straight in my head, so I had to have some conversations with Jerry a couple of times to get it going right. Also, like I said, when the TCE book came out, I worked on that and did that. And I did all these extra embouchures just for the understanding of how embouchures work. It was just like, this is my hobby, this is my work, this is my passion. I wanted to learn absolutely everything I could learn about absolutely every brass embouchure, so that when a student came to me, no matter what their problem, I could have some kind of idea how to help them. Okay? And so that's kind of why I'm uniquely qualified to talk about why all these things are mentioned when you go and you look for help. Okay? Now, when these people talk about their playing technique, nothing they talk about and say, hey, do this, those are not wrong things. Even if another teacher says, don't do that, And there's a reason why. One teacher will say do it, and one say don't do it. And I'm going to show you with the easiest example, and that's a lip buzz. Okay? When I ask people to lip buzz, they usually tighten their face and basically fart something between their lips. So squeezing and blowing so hard, something just kind of squirts through. And maybe if it's good, it'll sound like a mosquito buzz. Okay? That's not how I learned to lip buzz. Okay? And how I learned was I'm just going to spit. Completely relaxed, so nothing going on. Now I'm going to keep blowing air. There's nothing going on there, okay? And when I add the anchor tongue, things kind of change. But the lip buzz is relaxed. So the mouthpiece's buzz is going to be relaxed. All right? It's not that tight thing. Also, when you buzz this relaxed, the mouthpiece is basically an octave key for you. And I'm going to use my fingers because it's a little cooler, I think. These are not going to cut off the vibration points like a mouthpiece is because they're soft and they're round, okay? But when you're really relaxed, your mouthpiece is like an octave key. When the mouthpiece comes up, it plays a higher pitch than you lip buzz. Okay? If it doesn't play a higher pitch than your lip buzzing, then you have way too much tension and the center of your lips are too tight. Now, teachers that say buzz, they're doing stuff relaxed, man. Teachers that say never buzz, they're doing stuff really tight. They'll tell you all the time how much tighter it is to buzz than to play. It doesn't have to be. It's just that they never learned to buzz relaxed. Okay? Well, the same thing holds true with when they talk about, anchor tonguing, or they talk about tongue arch, or they talk about whatever they talk about. There's a right way to do something, and then there's a dozen or more wrong ways to do it. The wrong ways are not going to get you where you want to go. Okay? So it's kind of tough. All right? Now, you really want to get in the mindset of the person that's telling you this, okay? And you also don't want to be scared. I've got no fear, so I can work on all this stuff. If you approach it and you're afraid of it, you're going to mess something up. And it's just the fear. The fear is going to do it. So approach things open-minded, no fear, okay? And when it comes to, like, online forums, all right, look at who the people are and look at what they're telling you, all right? I mean, one time, one of the heavyweight posters on the Trumpet Herald, and he's posted all this stuff, and people are just eating it up. And one day there's a post, and he says, I am so-and-so's study hall teacher, The person you've been taking advice to is in the 7th grade and has been in band for 1 year. It's because things on the internet can be anonymous. And so somebody that knows nothing has the same credibility until you look them up as somebody that truly knows what they're talking about. I've also seen really knowledgeable professional players post, but not using their name, and get run off of places like the Trumpet Herald. Because people would tell them, oh, nobody can do that. That's just, you'd be amazed at what some people could do. I've seen world-class professional players play embouchures that absolutely no teacher would suggest they play that way. And man, they play great. Okay? Now, the big question is, everybody wants to know, how do you improve your range? How do you play high? And this one guy will say, hey, do this. Another guy will say, do this. Somebody else says, do something else. The reason is, I want you to think of a lock and a key. Your front door has a lock on it. And one key, and one key only, fits that lock. One key will open your front door. Your next door neighbor can try their key, but it's not going to open your front door. One key opens it. Well, playing high, let's say that there's a door in the way. We have to get through this door. There's not a lock on that door. There are several locks on that door. And there's several locks that you have to find the key for and unlock. I'm going to call them right now A, B, C, D, and E. Player 1, when he's going through school, he learns A, B, C, and D. And some years after he gets out of school, he finally learns E. And then he goes on and he makes a video and he's talking about E. E is the key to playing high. If you do E, you're going to have these high notes just like I do. Well, he was right. For him, E was the key to finish unlocking the door. Another player, he learned A, B, C, and E in school. Took him years before he ever learned D. He goes on the line and he says, hey, D is the key to playing high. He was right. D was the key that finally unlocked the last lock on his door. And it can be the same thing with every other key. That's why all these different people tell you what the key is, but they're different keys because they learned to unlock the locks to playing high in a different order. That's all it is. Now, do you need the same key that this guy needed? He doesn't know. He's never seen you play. Okay? You may need that key. You may need a different key. You may need 2 keys instead of 1. Very often somebody will come, they'll take a lesson, and they really needed 2 different keys to unlock the door. All right? I've seen people that needed 3 keys. I've seen adults that played all through high school and they needed 4 keys to unlock high notes. And that's really not that uncommon. But that's why you hear all this stuff, okay? Because they're talking about the key that did it for them. But they don't really know what you need because they've never seen you play. And the only person that can do that is a really great teacher. I'm not talking about, you know, Joe Average. He probably doesn't really know what you need to get there. There's some great teachers, and online. Hey, look them up. There's some really great teachers that will teach, Skype or whatever, and you get what you need to know. Okay? Part of it is you need to really kind of connect with their personality, okay? If you don't get along with their personality, it's going to be hard for you to accept what they're trying to show you. Part of it is some people teach at different paces, and that may be something that you like or don't like, but lessons are usually truly the key to unlocking high notes. That we need that because we need somebody to make the assessment of what we really need. Okay? And in my opinion, the more you learn about trumpet, the more you know. The more you have in your bag of tricks, the more that you can pull out at any given situation and use. I don't think you can know too much. I truly don't. Okay? I hope that this explains why there's so many people talking about so many different ways to do something. There's a lot of common ground, meaning they may all do A, B, C, D, but then instead of E, one might do E, but one might do F. But it ended up that both of them kind of unlocked the door and both of them got range. They did it slightly different. Well, we're all different. Imagine that. We have top lip, bottom lip for different sizes on different players. I mean, look at Maynard Ferguson's lips and look at Bill Chase's lips. Those are different lips, man. The tremendous difference in their lips. Hey, they both got the job done, though. So you have to take into account physically what you have. You can't just go, oh, I like the way this guy plays, I'm going to learn his embouchure. Okay? Are your lips exactly like his? Are your teeth exactly like his? Your bite angle exactly like his? Is your tongue as long as his? Is your tongue as thick as his? Is the inside of your mouth, is the chamber, the resonant chamber, the same size as his? Is it shaped the same as his? There's a lot of stuff that goes into whether you can play this guy's embouchure or not. Okay? Now, I'm not saying be afraid of it. Go ahead. Because what's going to hurt? I tried this. I didn't like it. Now I go back to where I was. Because if you're 100% sure of what your embouchure is today, then trying out an idea is not going to hurt you. It's just going to be another trick. And maybe it's the trick that helps. So, find a teacher to help you. Practice. And, practice using your mind. Practice smart. when you're practicing, no TV, no radio, no disturbances. Really concentrate on your practice and think about what you're trying to accomplish. What's my goal? I'm playing this exercise, but what's my goal with this exercise? Am I just wasting time twiddling my thumbs? Or am I actually trying to do something with this exercise? If you're not really actively trying to do something with it, um, don't do it, because you're not going to get there. You're not going to get what you need. Everything you play, you have to know, why am I playing this? What's my goal? Am I working on keeping a consistent airstream? Am I working on keeping consistent tonguing? Am I working on tone color? Am I working on resonance? What am I working on? Why am I doing this? And then really concentrate on the work. Because, hey, if I have no goal, if I pick the horn up and I have no goal in mind, and I don't know what I want it to sound like, and I don't really know why I'm playing the exercise, you're wasting time. That's a total and complete waste of time. You have to know where you're going. You have to know what you want it to sound like. You have to hear in your head exactly what you want. And then when you try it and you don't get what you want, try it again. Go for it again. What is it that I really want it to sound like? If you don't have in your head what you want a song or an exercise to sound like, then I call that playing by accident. Whatever comes out of the horn's kind of an accident, because you didn't plan it. You didn't plan it to sound like this. It just accidentally happened. You got to have a goal. Okay? Hey, get out there and practice and have fun.